What fool thing is Johnny doing now? Well, here we go. Lee Hacklin, private investigator, in The Gang Show, Chapter 11. I drove to NYPD HQ and told my number one fan, Lieutenant Sam Houston, Hacklin, if I never see your blow-dried Goldilocks again, it'll be too soon, about Fitzroy Goodwin and his ankle holster insurance policy. It was 5 p.m. by the time I got to my office. I sat at my desk, ignored the Shelob-sized spider on my ceiling, and began to read my purloined evidence. I had to stifle an urge to imbibe. There was a bottle of Always Win gin in my filing cabinet. It was for closings, not pendings. Here we go. My father was Mike Foster. He was born in 1900 and he grew up in New York City. He dropped out of high school in 1917 and joined the Navy. After a year, he was dishonorably discharged for striking a superior officer. He was able to support himself by robbing banks. In 1920, a nationwide ban on alcohol was enacted by our mostly useless Congress. For once, in that instance, they made a good decision. When I take control of the world, booze will go the way of the dodo bird. My old man smelled opportunity and became a bootlegger. In 1940, he married Sally Ross, and I was born a year later. I grew up an only child. As far back as I can remember, I've always been obsessed with the rise of the Third Reich. Everything Hitler said and did made sense to me. What moxie that man had. My parents died millionaires, and they left everything to me. I bummed around Europe for a year, especially Germany. When I came back to America, I enrolled at NYU and majored in English and history. I wanted to teach, but nobody would hire me. Because of my big fat mouth, because I always had to put a good word in for old Adolf. You're allowed to voice your opinion in America as long as it's the right one. What a farce this country is. I worked a lot of menial jobs until one day my ship finally docked. I saw a want ad in the Times. There was a new public high school in Brooklyn, Eisenhower. They were looking for a vice principal. I smiled, nodded, and kept my mouth shut during the interview. I got the gig. Holy Hannah. A few months later, Principal James Kenner retired. Good riddance, what a liberal weenie. I assumed my rightful position. Okay, a little editing. I have a vision of a new global order. I know that I'm on the right path because my enemies are multiplying. It's too bad Victor Paxton lived. Now his father's going on about hiring a private investigator. That's all I need, some rent-a-cop snooping around my kingdom. Dad had the brains of a dead skunk, but his time in the Navy taught him a few things, and one of those things was how to build a bomb. Doing that was the only thing I ever learned from him. Blowing up Paxton's chariot was just a dry run for tonight. That so-called parents-teachers conference Goodwin's organized is nothing but a lynch mob, and my head is what they want to see in their noose. They've sealed their fate. Their little anti-Foster gathering starts at 7. It ends at 5 after. Tick, 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 boom. I looked at my watch. 6:45. I jumped out my window. It was only 3 floors. Landed on my feet. Leapt down the stairs. Ignored the chorus of pain that my body was singing. Entered my car. Keyed the ignition. And ran every red light on my way to the Eisenhower Community Center. There were times when I envied Superman, and that was one of them. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thanks for watching, and don't forget God loves you. Cheers.